Your mind, like your body, is a tricky, complex, and delicate machine. So it only makes sense that you would treat it right. I think as humans, we tend to forget how important this mantra is. And as gamers, well, we take that mantra, punch it in the face, throw it off a cliff, and drop a nuclear bomb on it. Have you ever been in a Valorant lobby? Monkey! As gamers, we tend to underestimate how the games we play affect our mental state and how we feel. When our bodies are uncomfortable, they have a tendency to let us know in a very clear, hard to miss, and sometimes painful way. If you're hungry, your stomach will growl. If you ate too much greasy food, you best believe nausea is coming your way. And if you went too hard at the gym, good luck existing for the next couple of days. All of these are physical signs that are presented to us on a silver platter so we could digest and interpret them in whatever ways we see fit. Our minds, on the other hand, aren't so easy to get a pulse for. There are typically no clear and obvious signs when your mind is slowly suffering, which is why it's really easy to neglect your own happiness and slip into places you really do not want to be in. You could very well be falling into habits, performing actions, or living a lifestyle that is actively going against your mental health. And unless you know yourself extremely well, it would be very difficult to even tell it's happening. Now you might be asking, Innocence, what the hell does any of that have to do with video games? And that is a great question. So allow me to introduce to you the concept of junk food gaming. And to explain exactly what junk food gaming is, we're going to take a little trip into the past to a time where we were all younger and things were a little bit less stressful. See, back in 2012 when I was a kid, my grandmother gifted me a refurbished HP Pavilion laptop. It was a pretty garbage machine all things considered, but with a bit of tweaking, it could run the latest Call of Duty at the time, Black Ops 2, with a somewhat decent frame rate. And the rest was history, and when I say history, I mean history. Over 2 years and 1,500 hours of playtime across 3 accounts later, one could safely assume that I had effectively mastered every nook and cranny of Black Ops 2 and had it down to a science. I was one lean, mean 13-year-old prestige master. And so started my now decade-long adventure as an avid Call of Duty player. And in that decade, I've learned a lot of things. Most notably, wow, does this franchise suck ass sometimes. See, Call of Duty is not always in the best of shape. With the release of Warzone Battle Royale and the imminent release of Modern Warfare 2022, a lot of the younger demographic watching this video, or people who don't know much about COD, might not know exactly what I mean. But there were instances in the past where it really sucked to be a Call of Duty player, and you don't have to take my word on that. My PTSD from Black Ops 3 supply drops, players love Dom 50, and even whatever the heck this game is, because Lord knows it's not a finished product, is proof enough that this series is about as consistent as wet cement. But, like millions of other players out there, I'm guilty of still playing it, to this day, even if it is literally dog water at times. And you might ask, well, Innocence, why don't you just stop playing the games when they're bad then? And I wish it was that easy, because Call of Duty and other games like Battlefield, WoW, LoL, GTA, Fortnite, etc. are like junk food, designed in such a way to be accessible, easy to digest, and quickly satisfying. And I know a lot of people from those specific gaming communities might be off-put by that statement, but realistically, any game could become a junk food game, though some are more likely than others. But we'll get into exactly what does and doesn't classify as a junk food game later. For now, let's focus on what the effects of junk food gaming are and how they even manifest in the first place. As you know, your body doesn't always like junk food. It's fun and delicious the first couple of times you have it, but if you eat it too frequently and for too long, eventually it's going to catch up to you physically in one way or another. Whether that's being unable to exert yourself as much as you used to, or eventually succumbing to the world's deadliest disease, your body will let you know. Your mind, on the other hand, will pretty much stay quiet, even if it's being force-fed junk food video games until it's ready to tap out and quit gaming entirely. See, I used to solely play Call of Duty. For a solid 5 years of my life, from 2012 to 2017, Call of Duty comprised 95% of all gaming that I did. I dabble here and there with the new Battlefield or even the newest RPG, but at the end of the day, none of those games hooked me like COD did, so that's when I continued to play. And a weird thing started to happen to me as I matured as a COD player over the years. I started to literally hate every single thing about the franchise, but at the same time, I loved it too much to let it go. I was like a love-struck high school girl who kept getting cheated on. Every time I played COD, I started getting angrier and more stressed out than I'd ever been, all while playing something that was supposed to be helping me relax. And that wasn't the only negative. Eventually, I'd gotten so used to the franchise that you'd be hard-pressed to say that I had anything left to learn from it. So if I wasn't getting angry at the game, I was getting bored of it. There were nights where I'd look at my console, wanted to game, but then remember Call of Duty wasn't doing it for me at the time, so I'd browse Instagram or go to sleep. I had grown numb to a lot of what COD had to show me because I'd seen it all. And it had never crossed my mind that there could be other good games out there in the wild that I have yet to try. And if a COD game was truly terrible enough, I'd stop gaming entirely or significantly cut down on it until the next one came out. The concept of playing another game wasn't even something I could think of. For my brain, it literally wasn't conceivable. So for a large part of my life, I only had two options in front of me: play COD and be unhappy, or don't play at all. My PlayStation wasn't a console, it was a COD machine. Call of Duty had become my junk food. A game that was so easy to pick up, so comfortable to me, that I would rather play it and have it negatively affect my mental state than take the plunge and potentially try something else. And I know a lot of people who are just like how I used to be. Heck, some of my old friends are still like this, and as gamers, I'm sure we all have that one friend who only plays one game, whether it be Valorant, CSGO, PUBG, Minecraft, or whatever, regardless of how it makes them feel. You know, they tend to be very averse to playing anything else, and whenever you do agree to play their game of choice, you notice that they aren't even happy while playing it, either super bored, super calculated, or just flat out raging the whole time. So, how does one even end up here? In what feels like a never-ending trap where you just aren't having fun playing video games and probably don't even notice it? For those of you wondering how a person could let a single franchise or game dictate their life so much, despite being so clearly unhappy with it as a whole, it really comes down to one thing: accessibility. See, accessibility is a pretty fluid term, so it's going to mean different things for different people, and ultimately means your junk food games might look completely different from someone else's. Of course, there's going to be certain series and certain franchises that capitalize on this junk food phenomena more than others and make games that are quite literally designed to keep you playing for as long as possible, despite how predatory the ways they do it are, and regardless of whether or not you feel like playing it. That's where anything with a battle pass or arbitrary challenges like finish 15 matches today come into play. And that doesn't mean that these games are junk food in nature. Despite the title of the video, I love the COD franchise and generally think it's one of the highest quality arcade shooters you can buy. But I also refuse to be naive and act like the way these games are designed aren't meant to take over your entire gaming session if you want to see any meaningful progress. And what does that mean? Well, let's go back to talking about accessibility. Here in the US, it's no shocker that we have a weight problem. And stay with me here, I promise this is relevant. I'm sure by now it's a common fact known around the world that Americans are, generally speaking, larger compared to everyone else. And while taking care of your body and getting proper exercise is always going to be the responsibility of the individual, after living here for as long as I have, I'm not even going to blame the average person if they tend to overindulge. I kid you not, in most places, you cannot go 100 meters in the US without being within a quarter mile of a fast food restaurant. Literally, I'm laughing, but this isn't a joke. Literally 10 out of 10 of the top 10 fast food restaurants on planet Earth are American-based. Now, I'm not saying that a person's choice to eat unhealthily isn't a choice that should hold consequences, but I am saying it's very easy to make those continuous, comfortable, and seemingly insignificant decisions every day when it's presented to you everywhere you go. Here, you cannot escape it. With that being said, junk food in real life and junk food gaming are really similar. I bet everyone watching this video has purchased and or downloaded in their life at least once a Call of Duty, Battlefield, GTA, Fortnite, LOL, etc, not because you yourself were actually interested, but because it was a safe bet or you were already comfortable with the franchise or all of your friends had it. Junk food games, like their counterparts, are easy to digest and easy to play. But the problem with repeatedly overindulging in these kinds of games is that just like your body, eventually your mind will start to suffer. Just because everyone knows McDonald's and you know what to expect from McDonald's or you're good at eating McDonald's, doesn't mean you should eat McDonald's every day. And if most people know this about McDonald's, why don't we put this same consideration into the games we play? Because I genuinely don't believe I've met a single group of people more unhappy than League of Legends players. And the same goes for the Battlefield, COD, Fortnite, etc communities. I think once you reach a point where it has now become profitable not to criticize, but to literally shit on a franchise every day as your job, like some other channels frequently do for these series, I think that's when you should probably take a step back and consider playing something else. But at the end of the day, junk food gaming is whatever is accessible to you. Yes, you as the viewer. It's whatever is comfortable to you. Call of Duty might not be a junk food game for you because you never really liked the gameplay style. But if you have 1,000 hours in The Last of Us Part 2 and 2,000 hours in the series as a whole, I'd argue that, you should probably switch it up because nobody should be this good at that game. We as gamers need to stop being so timid when it comes to trying new things out. Even if a game or genre is outside the realm of what we're used to, that doesn't mean we shouldn't give it a shot anyway. And I know, that's a very tall order to ask, especially nowadays when video games aren't cheap. If it were that easy to go out and spend $70 on a game and actually be pleased with it, I'm sure everybody would be doing it more often. Sometimes money is a big issue, so why waste all the time and energy trying something you're probably not going to enjoy anyway? Well, I think we should still take that shot in the dark. If we tried a new game franchise or a new game genre as often as we tried new meals, we'd all be a lot better off. And if you have the money to spare or an old disc that you don't use anymore, consider gifting a friend a game that isn't typically within their taste, but that you enjoyed. I'm serious, gift it to them. Back when all I used to play was Call of Duty, one day I was essentially saved by a friend of mine who gifted me an RPG he liked because he knew I would never get it for myself. And admittedly, while this game did stay on my shelves for about 2 months before I eventually decided to give it a shot, when I did, I was blown away by how a game like this could even exist. I had no clue that I could feel so good while playing a game and that there were other games besides COD that could make me happy. And longtime subscribers of the channel probably won't be surprised to hear me say this, but yes, that game was in fact Nier Automata. So moral of the story is, balance your gaming diet for a healthy and happy mind. If you ever at some point find yourself getting frustrated or bored by the games you play, it might be time for a change of pace, and for you to really shake up how you've approached gaming up until that point. Sometimes you don't necessarily need to play less video games to be happy, but instead play different games and get out of your comfort zone and be willing to learn something for the first time again. If you do find something you truly enjoy playing afterward, pay it forward and get your friends a random game that they wouldn't buy themselves, because you never know when one of them might become a YouTuber who won't stop talking about it. Yo, Innocents, hope you guys enjoyed that video. I had a pretty fun time making it, though the script was pretty tricky to write because I feel like this is a topic and feeling that is near impossible to understand unless you've witnessed it firsthand in either yourself or a friend. But nevertheless, I hope I did a half decent job explaining it. Feel free to criticize me down below. Anyway, if you liked the video, leave a like. If you disliked it, dislike, and be sure to subscribe so you never miss a future upload on the channel. Oh, and hit that bell notification button if you're so inclined. I've been Innocents. You've been the audience, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.